This is meteorologist Mark Molnar. As always, I want to thank you for joining me for this edition of Weather Eastern and Hurricane Eastern. We're going to take a look at the tropics. It's not time to turn our backs on the tropics just yet. They're still very favorable. Sea surface temperatures, lower wind shear, that sort of thing out in especially the Caribbean, the rest of the Atlantic, and parts of the Gulf of Mexico. So we'll take a look at the tropics. There could be something brewing in the Caribbean. We'll take a look at the model data. Also, we'll take a look at the data across North America, see if there's any cold waves coming, especially to the east where it's been so warm. And I am working on my 2021-2022 winter weather outlook. So watch out for that shortly. I'm putting as much data into that as I possibly can and insight. And don't forget to subscribe down below if you haven't already. Hit the like button if you like the video, and question or comment. If you have any questions or comments down below, go right ahead. And there are timestamps in the description down below. Let's get right into it. All right, we're taking a look at the tropics. I want to show you the area that's right around from anywhere from the Lesser Antilles, the Eastern Caribbean, the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, Eastern Cuba, Jamaica, the Eastern Bahamas. This is particularly from October 27th through the 31st. Take it with a grain of salt because this is pretty far out, but the GFS has bounced a few scenarios where a low pressure tries to form. A couple of days ago, it was in the Eastern Bahamas forming and then skipping slowly east along the Caribbean islands. Now it's in the Eastern Caribbean, skipping north along the Caribbean islands. So we'll have to continue to watch this. This is something to watch. That's why I put this big circle area, high uncertainty in the 10% range between October 27th and 31st. We're going to watch it very closely here at Meteomark's Hurricane Eastern. Across the rest of the tropics, pretty well quiet. The jet stream much further to the south this time of the year, keeping the threat further across the Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico, and the Cape Verde season. But at this time, the only other areas in the Eastern Pacific where we have a 90% chance of our next named storm pretty quickly here off the western Mexican coastline. And here we go, taking a look at the satellite of the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, there is wind shear. You see these thunderstorm tops being blown off these thunderstorms, even down here in the central southern Gulf. Not as prevalent down here, though, so something can still get going here. You see these persistent showers and thunderstorms. We do have to watch that this time of year. And taking a look at the rest of the Atlantic, we have a feature that is plowing into the north coast of South America and also the intertropical convergence zone, the Cape Verde areas. We are watching very active intertropical convergence zone, nothing major of interest. And look at this recent flare up here is what we want to watch this time of year. There's still these little areas that flare up, and this one is kind of persistent, and there is high sea surface temperatures to work with here. And so we'll watch the rest of the tropics. All right, let's take a look at the model data here across the tropical Atlantic. It'll also take us through much of 2/3 of North America here. Let's start off with the GFS. We'll start in the tropics here. Nothing this week. As you can see, we stretched through. And North America looking pretty quiet. We do have this cutoff like type low here. Look at that low in the North Atlantic, really spinning there. High pressure is in control of most of the Atlantic. We do see that next potential storm here in the Eastern Pacific spinning up there. You can see how it just starts initially developing, and then we go into that phase where it's developing. And then we get into the rest of the tropics next week, Monday into Tuesday. Seems pretty quiet across the east part of the country and North America. A lot of blocking going on. We have this cutoff low here in the northeast, keeping things a little unsettled. But then we get into later next week, and we have, there it is, that little blip there that shows up. The potential for something trying to develop here just southeast of Puerto Rico and west of the Windward and Leeward Islands. We put that into motion, and it kind of brings it north in that direction there. Let's see if there's anything showing up here on the CMC model. Let's take us through here. There's that system in the Eastern Pacific developing by later in the weekend, really closing off nicely into something almost looks like a hurricane at that point. But the CMC is not really picking up on anything, and although they are picking up this out here, Cape Verde type storm this late in the season. So there you have it. And let's get into see if King Euro has anything going on here. And there's that system in the Eastern Pacific. Pretty unsettled here across North America. System kicking out of the midsection of the country. But look at this. There's that big blocking ridge. Very, very blocky at this point. And we put this further into motion. Yeah, nothing showing up in the tropics as far as the Euro. So the Euro is dead and clear as a bell out here. All right, let's take a look at any cold patterns, any instability, troughs, ridges. Let's go through the whole 9 yards here. GFS, we're starting off with Friday, heading on into the weekend, October 22nd into 23rd. Much of North America is being covered by lower heights here, especially out west. There is that ridge developing across central Canada, and the ridge basically off the east coast of the United States. A lot of cutoffness going on here. Anything that does form, nice high pressure in the southeast, keeping things pretty quiet. And we put this into motion for your Sunday. Look at that big trough kicking in there. That is quite significant. That's giving way to a major ridge, a double barrel high ridge developing back east here and blocking pretty much anything. Everything's pretty much blocked up into early next week. We have a cutoff low trying to basically sandwiching between these two high pressure systems, that trough really digging out west. So let's see if this has any chance of breaking into Wednesday. Yeah, a little ridging out west here. So that will start to dig a trough back east here, almost like a negatively tilted trough. And there's that cutoff low really blowing up off of the southeast part of Canada. And just east of Maine, there's that ridge holding tough up here. That's very indicative of a negative NAO index. And look at that. We finally get some sort of big troughiness here in the east, really digging really hard. But look at this. This system does not have anywhere to go into that blocking high. And ridging occurring out west. Let's take a look at the CMC, see if we see anything similar. There's that ridge across central Canada. A lot of cutoff lows stuck between these two highs, digging a trough out west into the weekend and October 24th and Monday, October 25th. And look at this. Here is that little bit of troughiness with this cutoff low, but look at this. Big blocking high across eastern Canada, keeping things well above average as far as temperatures. Big trough digging out west here, continues to dig. Look at that, blocking high really holding tough on the CMC into Wednesday the 27th, October 28th. And finally, we get some sort of really digging trough, almost kind of being pushed here to the point of cutoff. So things really are not moving here across the east. You see that low kind of retrograding around the Great Lakes through Halloween. So ridging start to taking shape out west. So there you have it. All right, let's take a look at the temperature anomalies across much of North America here through the next 5 or 7 days. Look at this. We'll take the daytime highs because there's less variability. We finally have some cooler air here across the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, anywhere from 2.5 to as much as 6 degrees below average here. For your later Friday into Saturday, we see that reinforcing shot of cooler air across the Great Lakes. So the warm air is here across the southern plains in the southeast, colder out west as well, up to 10 to 15 degrees below average. But we head into the highs for your Sunday, kind of moderating just slightly. We're just slightly below average. And out west, really keeping that trough alive. But look at that. On the east side of this next system, you can see it there, pulling some very warm air up, much as 12 to 20 degrees above average here across the Mississippi River Valley. And you get into later Monday, look at those daytime highs, really pulling some warm air, above average air for Monday afternoon. Very sharp cutoff, though. You can definitely see there's a front here and some cooler temperatures behind it as well across the Midwest. We head into Wednesday. Look at that. Anywhere from 12 to 20 degrees above average again in the east side of the next system. Reinforcing shot of cooler air here in the east and out west. And we propagate into your Thursday or later Wednesday. Look at this. We see a warming trend again. And it seems to be winning out, especially across central and eastern Canada. Some cooler air across the northeast. And as that spreads east, let's take a look at next Friday's highs. Going into Halloween weekend. Some below average highs here across the southeast, but staying well above average in the Midwest and parts of the Northeast. And as we head into Halloween weekend, look at that. Staying above average back east, but a shot of cold air that makes it all the way into the deep south. As much as 2 to as much as 6 degrees here below average. And as always, thanks to tropicaltidbits.com for all of these great, look at these maps. We'll take a look at the GFS total accumulated precipitation. This is going to be interesting because there's some areas of the country. This takes us through the weekend. Look at this. Out west, anywhere from 2.5, as much as 3 inches in some of these bigger purples. Not too much back east here. A generalized anywhere from 1/4 to 3/4 inch of rain. But then we plow into next week. Look at that. Northern California. A lot of this is mountain snow you're seeing up here in the Sierra Nevadas. And look at this in the Pacific Northwest. We're really getting in on 2.5, 3 inches of rain. And here across the upper Ohio Valley and mid-Mississippi, upper Mississippi River Valley, look at this. We're getting into some heavier rains developing here. Anywhere from 1 to as much as 3 inches in some of these purple areas. And we stretch it into your Tuesday, Wednesday, into Thursday of next week. Look at this. We even get some rain here across upstate New York, up to 2 inches in some areas. And out west, look at, on the scale here, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 inches of liquid equivalent. This is crazy. They're going to be having a parade of storms moving in here. We take a look at the CMC model, look at the total accumulated precipitation. Look at this. We blow this up through Thursday of next week. There's that band of rain. Systems will be following this over and over again, anywhere from 3.5, 4.5 inches of rain here across northern Missouri, central Illinois, and in the northeast, anywhere from about half all the way up to 1.25 1.5 here. And out west, wow, that's a lot of liquid equivalent. Some of that in the higher elevations, 5 feet plus of snow, especially the northern Sierra Nevadas. And look at this NAO index. It's been negative since mid-September. We're continuing to propagate through November into negative territory. So we'll be reinforcing that negative. A lot of blockiness back east. So any system that does form or move into the East Coast area will have a tendency to stall or retrograde. And the upper air pattern across North America, look at that. Ridge in the central part of the United States, a trough on both coastlines, more pronounced out west, slightly in the east if you average it out over October 22nd through the 26th. It will be slightly cooler than average if we average this out across the northeast and east coast some of those days, especially into early next week. But the big ridge builds across the southern plains, keeping things above average, also in central and eastern Canada above average. And look at that out west, just tremendously stormy and just downright cold, especially from the Cascades and Sierra Nevadas on eastward. TGIF, the day everybody waits for, and here it is. Turning cooler? Oh, definitely. Dueling cold fronts, still in the offing here. Take a look at the first cold front plowing through Boston, New York City, and Atlantic City, tumbling the temperatures from the 70s into the 60s. And look at that next cold front, just west of the I-81 corridor in upstate New York and Pennsylvania, tumbling things down into the 50s. Look at that, Buffalo 50 and 52 in Erie. Look at that, right across into the Canadian province of Ontario, Toronto 46. So we're really tumbling down here, 57 in Binghamton, 55 in Pittsburgh. Chance of scattered showers, particularly after 2 p.m. in that colder instability upper levels of the atmosphere. And if we take a look at the southeast for your TGIF, wow, look at that cold front. That is a sharp cold front heading down into the deep south. 71 in Atlanta, 69 in Birmingham, and 64 in Nashville. This is quite a tumble. We're heading below average here for a bit, as indicated on those models I showed you earlier. But look at that. Along the Gulf Coast, we're still holding on to low to mid-80s, even 91 in Tampa, 88 in Miami, and 84 in Charleston. The big news will be eastern North Carolina. Look at that. The Outer Banks and eastward, especially just east of Raleigh. Look at that. We're dealing with some strong thunderstorms, especially after 3 p.m. Some of those could contain damaging wind, large hail, and isolated tornadoes. So if you're just south of Norfolk, east of Raleigh, look at that. Even Wilmington up to the Outer Banks. Severe weather threat. Keep an eye to the sky. And for your Saturday across the Northeast, is probably what you didn't really want to see, but it is fall, and these are about your average temperatures, so I guess we're just going to have to live with it. But here it is. You know, we're heading into a later Saturday night, which could be our first frost for many, so that is a positive for allergy sufferers. But look at this. This definitely, it's not a nor'easter. This kind of looks like, you know, the low cranking off the coastline here, but it will be kind of broken here. We won't see heavier precipitation being pushed along the coastal areas. That upper level low stays back across western and central upstate New York here, and it will keep scattered showers and instability, especially in the afternoon, a tenth of an inch or less most areas. It won't be an all-day rain event, so if you need to get out there and enjoy it, it's still plenty of time to. It's just going to be into the lower 50s most areas. And for your Saturday across the southeast, high pressure, it is looking beautiful across the southeast. Atlanta, Birmingham, Nashville, Raleigh, Charleston, Norfolk, Panama City, New Orleans, Houston. Look at this. And in Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, the Carolinas, it is much lower humidity too. This mid to upper 70 range. Very, very nice. Get out there and enjoy. And back westward, we have that warm front coming back to the northeast here, bringing the chance of some showers and thunderstorms to North Texas, Louisiana, and the Mississippi River Valley. And South Florida, that frontal boundary, as does happen this time of year, stalled out, chance of showers and thunderstorms. All right, for your Sunday across the northeast, it's not looking really much better. In the lighter green shading, we will see anywhere from about a tenth of an inch or less. It's in that darker green. See that medium style green there from Pittsburgh up to State College, Buffalo, Erie. We could see up to a quarter an inch of rain. That next system coming in from the Ohio Valley in the Midwest will be spreading some overrunning rain north of a warm front that's off the screen here. So we could get into some more moderate rain here in some of these areas. Cold front pretty much pushing across eastern New England, so cooling will take place from Boston up to Portland and Bangor, Maine. But for the most part, we will see some breaks of clouds and sun, especially along the coastal areas here. And for your Sunday across the southeast, Sunday morning, rain is falling. That'll be true, especially in the mid-Mississippi River Valley, extending southward into northeast Texas. Look at that. Chance of strong thunderstorms. Showers and thunderstorms likely with that frontal boundary moving in from the west. And we have that big warm front to the north. So getting some really warm air even into Nashville, Birmingham, Atlanta, and back into the 80s here. South Florida will have that front really stalled out here. This always happens this time of year. So nothing new here. Pop-up showers and thunderstorms, especially during the afternoon hours. 92 is the hot spot in Tampa. The cool spot is Norfolk at 75, and most of the rest of the areas into the low to mid-80s. And a case of the Mondays across the northeast. Oh, you'll feel like the Mondays here as overrunning precipitation north of a warm front. The good news is this low-pressure system in the Ohio Valley will be weakening by this point. So you're just dealt with a little bit of overrunning scenario, some isentropic lift to the north, especially along the New York State Thruway from Buffalo, Syracuse, and Albany. There will be about a tenth to a quarter inch of rain out of this, but places like Binghamton, State College, Scranton, New York City, about a tenth of an inch or less, and south of that warm front as well. It will be much warmer, though. Look at that, 64 in Pittsburgh, 58 in Harrisburg, but much colder north of the front, 52 along the New York State Thruway, 40s in upstate New York, the northern part of New York into Vermont near Burlington, 47 in Toronto. And for your Monday, a case of the Mondays across the southeast. Oh yes, you will have a case of the Mondays across eastern Tennessee, eastern Kentucky. Heavier rains developing, but this low pressure, the good news, will be weakening as it heads east. So we won't have that threat of severe weather that we saw on Sunday across the mid-Mississippi River Valley, but we still see some showers and thunderstorms, especially into the darker and medium shade greens here, anywhere from a half to 3/4 of an inch possible. Outside that, in lighter greens, about a tenth of an inch, especially along the Gulf Coast here. And Houston, one of the rare dry spots, heading up towards 90, hot as a firecracker, 90 in Tampa, 80 in both Atlanta and Birmingham, with a chance of late day showers or thunderstorms possible. And take a look at extended outlook for my hometown viewers from Binghamton to the Susquehanna region, all the way down to Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area. Take a look for your Friday through your Tuesday and all points in between. Take a look Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We're basically stuck in the mid-50s just about every day. Lows will be dropping into the 30s by Saturday morning, Sunday morning. Now, Sunday morning, you have the best chance of seeing frost across much of the area, especially in those deeper, normally colder valleys. So you allergy sufferers such as myself, you may see some relief after Sunday morning. Hopefully we can get down to that 33, at least 34 degree mark, get some frost going on for at least a couple hours. Maybe some areas could see a freeze as well, so that could be very interesting. But one thing's to note, each afternoon between like 3 and 6 p.m., there's that chance of scattered showers developing. So instability in the colder upper levels of the atmosphere each and every day, and more clouds than sun. As always, I want to thank you for joining me for this edition of Weather Eastern and Hurricane Eastern. Don't forget to give my social media pages some love at Facebook. I have a couple of them. It's Meteomark on Facebook. Also, Weather Northeastern on Facebook. It's two words. And also Hurricane Northeastern. That's also 2 words. Or you can find me on Twitter at Weather Eastern. And as always, it's Meteomark.com, WeatherNortheastern.com.